Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CCA League Division B Grand Finals. We have the number 1 seed, MSU Splatoon from Michigan State, taking on the number 2 seed, the Purdue Air Launchers. I am DRF, joined by my co-commentator for today, Kian. We have come a long ways, and we are finally here at the Grand Finals, Kian.
Indeed, and both these teams went through the regular season and made it past the semifinals. I'm curious to see how these two teams perform in the big stage and see who takes home the Division B championship here. So this will be a lot of fun. Personally, I like to see this go the distance, but we'll see what happens.
It certainly could. I will say that these two teams have certainly built up somewhat of a rivalry this school year. A lot of back and forth sets between these two. We saw earlier this year at the Purdue Invitational that these two teams went head to head, and their matches I think at least got close to going the distance. And Pal came out on top during the regular season here. Michigan State sweeping Pal 4-0. And with all of that said, we're gonna be diving right into game number 1 here. Splatzone's on Muscle Forge Fitness.
Both teams wasting no time, so right out of the gate here for MSU, they got a few slashers on hand, Zek Splasher and Soda Slashers, and a lot more closer range weapons, K-Shot and the Junior. So going with a lot more closer range for combat, and you still got your support setup with the V Junior. On the other side for Purdue, they got the Luna Blaster, Tensor Luna Blaster, the Blob Lobber, V Junior, and the NZF-85. Still definitely a lot of things to work with, but they do have some backline support, as they should expect. So right now, out of the gate though, MSU has already gotten control of that zone and were able to recap it back just in the nick of time. So gonna be curious to see if MSU can hold them off. Pal's gonna try to fight back.
Yeah, Pal's been holding this zone at neutral a couple of times here. Finally gonna get a pick on the Junior. Koreki making some noise here, getting a beautiful double. That certainly should help flip this zone, but they're trying to get this third pick as well. They are able to get the pick. That's a quad! Koreki with the quad! My goodness, and that's gonna allow Pal to get control of this zone and start putting some big points on the board. Koreki continues to be on a tear.
Man, what a start for Koreki, getting the 5K to start things off, and of course, Pal able to take full advantage by flipping the zone. Oh my goodness, that's 6 already onto Koreki's name. Koreki's doing everything they can to put Pal on this board here, as they just taken the lead. Can Koreki go crazy here again? Yes, he does get the 7th, but control was just lost. Pal did lose 2 members in the process. MSU is going to flip it back, so penalty points are applied, but man, what a start for Koreki so far, and Pal able to take the early lead, but MSU still, of course, plenty of time, and MSU can still fight back.
Yeah, they're almost out of this penalty already, and look at the pressure that they're just trying to put on Koreki here on the far right side, but Koreki still somehow dancing, staying alive, and that's going to help Pal get this zone into neutral, but they do lose 2 members in the process, but they're somehow going to still get the flip as well. The bubbles, they're going to be flipping this one for good, tacking on just a little bit of penalty, and MSU should be able to get out of this, most certainly, given where Pal is at right now, and they're going to be hunting for the lead as well.
Yeah, and key things to note here, as MSU does maintain their zone, they are painting a bit to help build up some of those specials. So building up those specials and then using the ink armor to at least continue on the pressure is a great sign for MSU right now. MSU is getting pushed out a bit, but right now 2 down already for Pal, so respawn timers aren't really playing kind to Pal at this point, and members are still dropping a bit here. MSU, 20 points remaining. They could take this first map, and that's still members going down for Pal.
These bubbles are going to try to seal the deal here, but Pal going to make this one last effort here. They're going to get real close to neutral. They do get the neutral there. They do get 1 pick as well. They're going to flip the zone right in the nick of time. A huge stop there from Pal, right on the verge of getting knocked out. They're going to hang on to this one just a little bit longer, extending this game just a little bit. We are only 3 minutes into this game, and we have gone back and forth constantly here. And MSU on the verge of a knockout, though, going to be slowed down. Pal looking to come back here, trying to make a statement. But with 1 down right now, that's going to be a little bit of a slowdown for them.
Yeah, and Pal has a huge mountain to climb here, basically in knockout range. The thing saving Pal are those penalty points, but Pal does need to find picks, find those important fights to win against for MSU, and MSU still holding control. MSU is just playing this a little safer at this point, and they are doing very well in just that. And Pals, they're still trying to find that opening. Maybe if Koreki can find an opening there, this should hopefully seal the deal. 2 members down, but Koreki did go down in the process. Pal is going to be able to flip the zone, make that the 3rd member down for MSU. So Pal is still hanging on with a minute left to go. They got to go get through these penalty points, and the points remain to at least stay alive. Let's see how Pal holds on this defense.
Yeah, they are going to get out of penalty, so points on the board once again for Pal. They are looking to knock out here. Omazen going to find another one. He's going to somehow survive those missiles. I really don't know how Omazen lived through that one. But popping these missiles as well, they should be able to flip this one back in their favor, but they do have a hefty 35-point penalty to work with. Going to try to drop down on this explosion, but Soda from Nick is going to find them. And now this is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage now for Pal, but they are just hanging in there the best that they can and doing a good job of it so far.
And Pal was split up. There were members not really close to the zone, and that made it easy for Nick to at least paint over the zone and get the cap back for MSU. So MSU is just buying so much time. Pal is trying to fight back with 5 seconds left. They're trying to fight this one through, but MSU gets full control the rest of the way, and MSU takes the first map.
Oh man, what an exciting game number 1 for both of these teams. Just constant back and forth. MSU making big pushes, which I think ultimately is what led them to this victory, but an excellent team effort there from Pal to just keep themselves in it. And I mean, God, you have to give it to Koreki. We saw Koreki get 6-7 kills in a row there to give Pal that advantage early on in the game.
Yeah, Pal's advantage really did build off of, as you mentioned, the 7 kills, maybe 8 that Koreki had early, but MSU, they stayed coordinated and played the entire map very well together there. So MSU, they were so close to the KO range, but Pal fought back and pretty much hanging by a thread with 1 point left remaining with the penalty points, but just wasn't enough, and MSU was still able to hold strong throughout that point. So excellent job by MSU, but definitely, as you mentioned, props to Koreki for giving his team a chance to hang on.
Yeah, Koreki did an excellent job just keeping Pal in that, and if I remember correctly, Koreki should be the captain as well, so excellent leadership there by just so well done. But with that said, we are going to be jumping into game number 2. Pal looking to redeem themselves a little bit because they know that they can get within striking distance of MSU. MSU swept them last time. Pal already putting together a much better game 1 from the regular season. And I really think that they're going to have a breakthrough sometime soon here. I would love to see Koreki definitely stick with that Luna Blaster if possible. I think that works so well on Sturgeon tower control. But the other issue is that you really have to keep Nick contained on the side of Michigan State. Nick is just so good with that slosher and surprises you from so many different angles, and I really think that's going to be the key as well.
And I'm going to be curious to see what Pal does. As you mentioned, Koreki could build around the Luna Blaster, as you just saw, but for Pal to stay in this one, going to be curious to see how they can thwart the rest of MSU. As you mentioned, Nick, one of the bigger threats in that Soda slosher there. Definitely doing a good job keeping the objective in MSU's control for that Muscle Forge Zones map. So with tower control in hand, with getting control of the tower and being able to get one push going for them, I'm going to be curious to see how Pal adjusts as we're queuing in here. So made some good, decent weapon changes here. Chef's on the remix now, and Sans is on the Gray End Zap. And on the other side, Carbon Roller Deco and a different choice of the slosher, but it's not the Luna Blaster. I think it's the K Rapid. I'm very sure on the hands of Koreki.
Yes, so still a solid choice here. The K Rapid, excellent to work with on this combination of map mode. Torpedo's going to make it really difficult to get solid pushes with that tower, but MSU's already 3 down, and they're going to be pressing this last move. But no!
Oh, no!
Oh, Koreki going to be taking a little bit of a dive into the abyss of this map, but nonetheless, Pal is going to work their way up to that first checkpoint. Correctly, really quick to jump back in. They are going to be able to continue holding this tower just a little longer, and I think they might be able to break through here. Sandy, though, going to try to stop this before they could get that checkpoint, but Pal, very smart play there. Just hold onto tower, force the checkpoint through, and then jump out.
Yeah, excellent job, as you mentioned, by Pal to just jump out, knowing full well that they can't get past the first checkpoint once they broke it through. Yeah, and I can't ignore the fact that Koreki absolutely got trolled by the map there. The map was absolutely moving when Koreki was jumped in and then just slipped out there. But what enabled that push to keep going for Pal was the fact that 3 members did go down. We do see specials being used on the hands of MSU. Stingray being thrown in towards tower to help thwart the MSU push. They did get past checkpoint 1. I think MSU is going to be able to take the lead off of this one. Yes, yeah, MSU was able to pressure out Pal from their own base, make that 3 down. MSU is going to be able to keep this push going.
Oh man, yeah, this is starting to spell a lot of danger for Pal as they just continue to get staggered here, and they're going to get sandwiched a little bit as well, but 2 down on the side of MSU might just delay this push a little bit. It's going to buy Pal just enough time to hopefully get a pick and stop this, but no, not able to get Chef off of that tower, and Chef is just going to brute force that tower into the knockout for Michigan State. Wow.
I have to look at this again because I think Pal pretty much got split in terms of who they were trying to focus. They saw pressure coming in from Ender on one side while Chef was able to continue on the tower, and I think a lot of the focus went towards Ender, who was not anywhere near the tower. So Pal got split up on their focuses there, so MSU was able to get the KO onto that tower control map. And yeah, MSU excuse me, MSU gets their second map win in the set. We're gonna see how Pal adjusts for Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, which is a very condensed map on its on its own.
Yeah, this one's gonna be pretty interesting. Just because this is one of the map modes that's simultaneously really fast-paced, but can also be really slow at the same time. You're gonna get moments where a team is just booking it for that pedestal once you get around that elbow, and this is gonna probably be a high-scoring back-and-forth game. And this really could play into either team's advantage because we've seen that both of these teams rely on a lot of momentum to get their pushes going. So if they're able to get, a couple of picks, that Rainmaker is going to be well on its way to the pedestal and working towards a knockout. And it's really going to come down to, I think, whichever team is able to make that really strong push first.
And as you mentioned, with the strong push coming in, I think it's really going to come down to not just like 1 or 2 picks. If the entire if maybe 3 or 4 members get wiped, you could see a very fast knockout coming in if the teams are well coordinated on that push. You could see one strong push lead to at least maybe let's say 60-70 points on that push alone. But it's going to really boil down to which team is able to get that advantage right out of the gate as we're about to load in.
Right, here we go with game number 3. Michigan State up 2-0 on Pal. Let's take a look at these compositions here. Nick's going to be transitioning over to that vanilla tri-slosher. Chef bringing out that C-Jet. Correctly switching to the Brella, the Tentabrella. An excellent choice there. And also Colt's pivoting back over to that Junior.
That's a really solid choice by correctly use that Brella. That helps provide a lot of protection for the Rainmaker holder to stay behind that Brella if need be. So I think that's a really smart choice by Pal, but 2 members already down. I'm gonna see if MSU is able to get this Rainmaker picked up. Yes, they will. So, and more members are falling at the seams by Pal. It's gonna have to take a stop by Pal to see if they can stop MSU at their steps. And yeah, MSU's trying to do their best pressure on Pal right now.
Oh, but they're able to get a couple of nice picks there, but Sandy is going to go down right at 51 remaining. So a solid push, but definitely not a game-winning push. So MSU is going to have to keep up a little bit of pressure here, and it looks like that they're going to try to do that with Nick. But Nick, the only one pushed up right now from Michigan State, but still finding a couple of nice picks there to just keep this going. Another pick there. And this Rainmaker is vulnerable, but Nick is gonna get shut down there. An excellent shot there from Koreki, and that Rainmaker shield is popped though. So if the Stingray might lead into a push for Michigan State, and yes it does. They're taking the wall. No one's able to stop them from Pal, and finally gonna get shut down. 25 remaining, cutting that remaining score in half.
Man, Pal's just being stuck in their base. There's just been so much ink from MSU towards Pal's side of that base there, so Pal's not really able to get out of that. And MSU was able to pick it up and yes, cut that distance rating by half. Pal is able to put that Rainmaker back into slightly lower ground, so hopefully Pal, if they can get some control back as Koreki finds one, and a second member did go down on MSU's side, so if Pal is able to find the opening that they so desperately needed, this could be Pal's time to shine. As let's take a look at Plan B and let's see if Plan B is able to navigate through these treacherous waters.
Yeah, Plan B doing a good job here. That Stingray focused on other members of MSU.
No.
My apologies. But Ender gonna find a nice pick there to shut down that Rainmaker. 3 down. That's a delayed wipe now on the side of Pal. They're only able to bring that all the way to 65 remaining. Not a bad push, but when you're halfway into this game, you're definitely looking for a little bit more on top of that. But I think that was an excellent coordinated stop by Michigan State there to have that Stingray not focused on the Rainmaker actually, focusing on the other members of Pal that was pushing up and having anyone wrap around to shut that one down for good. So this now gives MSU a lot of control in mid here, but both teams are at full strength once again, trying to get control of this middle part of the map and the Rainmaker.
Koreki does find Ender, so hopefully this opens the door. It certainly might here, as 2 members did go down on MSU's side. Pal did lose their junior in the process, but gonna be for Pal, they have to get some ink coverage down on MSU's side to at least hopefully get some sort of a sustained push going. Pal does pick up the Rainmaker, however, 1 member does go down on MSU's side. This could be looking very good for Pal right now, but the Stingray might be throwing a lot of those plans. Plan B's now having to escape through the 10 missiles. Look at the amount of ink coverage right there for Pal. They've just taken the lead, and the slam is just short of the pedestal. 1 point remaining. As Chef and the rest of MSU once again hanging by a thread on another map this set, but this time MSU is the one that's barely hanging on. It's gonna need to be a KO on MSU's side. What a great push by Pal.
Wow. And you know, Pal actually could have gotten that knockout there if they painted the pedestal just a little bit differently. Because notice that they had to go onto the right side of the pedestal to climb up and get it, leaving them wide open for, I forget who it was, it possibly was Chef coming out of spawn to shut that one down. So so Pal could have had that knockout there, but now they're gonna have to fight this one out for about 45 more seconds. They really just need to stay alive here. This Rainmaker already sitting on their right elbow, and that's gonna be a little bit difficult because you know that pressure is there. So you really just have to hold on for 30 seconds, build up those specials, which Pal doesn't really have any of right now. But I think especially with the tent building up those bubbles, that's gonna be a huge part of getting this last defensive stop.
This defensive stop means a lot for Pal, as that would put them on the board. It's gonna need to be MSU's time to shine with 14 seconds left. They just gotta find a few members. 1 member, Pal, did go down, but the Rainmaker holder, Plan B, goes down as Koreki now is having to protect the bubble there. 2 members of MSU does go down. They gotta quickly pick up this Rainmaker, however, they do not! One of the members was just short of the Rainmaker. Pal does indeed hold on. They are on the board with the Rainmaker map on their hands.
Wow. What a game of 3 between these two. And I think I've said that for every game so far. Excellent game there for both of these teams getting a couple of good pushes on either side, but ultimately Pal leading the way there at the 11th hour, it felt like. To secure the lead, bring it all the way down to 1 point remaining on the verge of a knockout, just barely missing that, but they put together an excellent defensive stop. We've seen them time and time again being able to put together those stops, and it really paid out this time for them.
That defense really needed to hold because while we're about to queue for Ink Block Clan Blitz, that's a very condensed map. So if the rest of Pal got wiped out, this could have been a very dangerous push for MSU to capitalize on. But Plan B went down at the hands of Koreki. If I'm very sure on that one. It was a little scary there. Some members of Pal did go down right towards the end, but MSU just wasn't anywhere near the Rainmaker. And yeah, one of the members I did just check was maybe like a few inches, maybe a feet away from the Rainmaker. So it was just so close, but the time ran out on MSU. So that defense needed to step up when it mattered the most, and it sure did for Pal. So I'm gonna be excited to see how this Clan Blitz map now fares out for both of these teams, and it's Ink Block Clan Blitz, and I personally which this is one of my better favorite maps in Splatoon. So gonna be curious to see how both these teams play this one.
Yeah, I definitely think bubbles are a huge part of a lot of teams' compositions if they have those types of weapons in their pockets. We know PAL certainly does. Michigan State, I believe they brought out a bubbles weapon in game 1. So I believe bubbles are available for both of these teams. So I think that's going to definitely be a focal point, because especially if you try to push up those stairs, you're utilizing those bubbles, pushing them upward is going to allow those teams a much safer entry. But at the same time, on the side of Michigan State, someone like Nick, who plays a very sneaky game, and correctly on the side of PAL, if they bring out that tent, could also set up a flank of sorts and surprise the other team.
You just mentioned the tent. Correctly dishes out the tent this time, but some very different choices now on PAL's end. The K Dynamo, the junior, and the CDS on the hands of PAL, and actually fundamentally very different weapons on the hands of MSU. They're going to go very different here. But what I do notice with both these teams, they do have armor and the Wheel Bomb coverage as well for the ink coverage on hand, as two members of PAL do go down. MSU is going to try to build towards that power clam, and they're trying to paint as much of the base to see if they can capitalize on it right now. But where is that power clam on the hands of MSU? There is one. One has just spawned, and they're trying to climb up the stairs right now, and they do just that.
Oh, and that's going to be a nice push there for Michigan State. But I don't know if there's going to be much more follow-up on top of that. 1+5, though, that's actually pretty solid. A little bit of a better push than I was anticipating there, because it seemed like that this follow-up was a little bit slow at the start. So they do actually make a decent push out of it, but definitely was hoping for maybe a little bit more there. I know that they would just kind of move fast and kind of just get that first strike in, but definitely a little bit more from MSU was possible, I feel.
And where that push could have been interesting is the fact that yes, MSU did pressure on PAL on their own base as much as possible. Two members of PAL, however, are going down, but with MSU trying to make that first initial strike going, they were trying to do everything to paint as much of that area where they can cash in on that power climb as much as possible. But noting that the push was a little slow, there wasn't much opportunity to cash in on a few more points. MSU is able to get this push going, but look at the two members down on by the hands of Cold. That might slow it down just a bit, but there were some plans that were pushed in the process. I think that was another power clamp plus another 6 for MSU, so they still were able to capitalize on that second push, but Cold doing a good job to at least keep that defense up for PAL.
Yeah, Cold actually got a triple there as well, shutting down that foil squeezer also. So now this is going to allow PAL to get a little bit more control back of mid, as you do see a good amount of purple paint there. But they are going to find a couple of picks as well, and Cold just has been so lethal with these bombs so far, able to get a second pick there. And now this could be PAL's opportunity to move in. The bubbles coming out defensively for Michigan State, which if you're a PAL, that's kind of a good sign there, because that means you really have Michigan State backed up now. And if you could just force those specials to come out now and live through them, you could have a really solid push on your hands.
Yeah, but both teams pretty much equaled out on clams right now at the moment here. So if PAL's able to take full advantage, knowing the fact that those bubbles are down by a bit and they have to build them back up, that would be the key important thing. But members of PAL are going down, and Chef has a clear path yet again to the barrier here. As right now MSU has broken apart that barrier. Chef finding some more clamps is going to go down, but not before more clamps are being pushed in for MSU's side. So MSU is still able to find an opening for that push to keep going. So even though they had to use those bubbles defensively, members of PAL just could not find the opening that they so needed, and MSU was able to take full advantage.
Oh man, yeah, Michigan State at this point has just continued having this pressure that PAL has yet to find a response to. And look at Ender now, just going to be building up this Booyah Bomb. They know that they're ready to gear up for another push yet again, but of course, as I stated, they do go 2 down. So that's actually going to stall this one out a little bit. A bit of a panic Booyah here. Not a bad choice given the situation that Ender found themselves in. And that's going to just buy them a little bit of time. Ender's preserving their life, which is the most crucial thing right now, as Pal finds themselves at a little bit of an advantage and looking to make a push here. But Ender going to try to get the surprise here, but no, going to get shut down by Plan B.
Yeah, and the rest of PAL, they still need to find that opening. They did find the one pick, but only one member down. MSU still fortifying their defenses as much as possible. As soon as I say that, though, PAL's trying to make an opportunity to put something down on that barrier side, and they do finally capitalize it on. And that's 3 members down. But where are the clams? There they are. Almost has the clams, but no clams left available. So this push might be slowed down here. Members are falling at the seams. So PAL's able to be on the board, but 53 points remain. They do need another push. Koreki just picked up the power clam. That might be the clam that just spawned in from an earlier MSU push. It's 7 seconds left. Where does PAL go from here?
Oh, they really need to get a couple of picks once again. But Plan B is going to find themselves going down there. And this is going to be a second member going down for the side of PAL. So this is already looking very difficult for PAL to get anything done. And they're going to be 3 down. So Oma's on the last one standing. And they just don't have enough time. 3 Power Crabs coming in to seal the deal for Michigan State.
Yeah, that push pretty much got thwarted. MSU knowing the fact that PAL needed one more push to at least have another chance at staying alive. MSU pretty much did everything to make sure that PAL was not given a chance, and MSU is at match point. They are leading the set 3-1.
Yeah, they are leading 3-1 now. So this is going to be match point for them. PAL, I think they had a couple of opportunities there that they just weren't able to capitalize on. I think that might be worth pointing out as well, as I think PAL, with the constant pressure from Michigan State, and I think Michigan State had like 4 or 5 pushes there in a row. PAL just wasn't able to really pick up those pity clams either, and I feel like that would also result in a couple of missed opportunities. And with nobody back there to jump in with that pity clam, PAL definitely kind of was having a little bit of a hard time there. So Michigan State, though, doing everything that they need to do to get themselves in this position, 1 point away from being the Division B League champions.
And you have to give credit though to MSU in the previous map there as well. They kept the pressure going, knowing the fact that even though that first push was pretty much a 1+5, that did not deter them whatsoever. They just kept going and going. Their focus was to put as much in coverage as they can down, get full control of the map, and they did just that. PAL was able to finally break through, but it was just too little, too late for PAL. So if you're PAL, you now have to win the next 3 maps to now secure this one, and it starts at Reef Splat Zones. I'm gonna be curious to see how both these teams attack this Reef Zones map, and see if PAL can find any adjustments or can try to solve the riddle of this incredible pressure that MSU is putting on.
Yeah, and with this one, you do have the 2 zones to work with, so it is going to allow for both of these teams a few more opportunities to try to get a stop in. However, this is probably one of the easier 2-zone maps to just straight up knock out on. So, you can sort of create a lockout situation here. So it's going to be a question of which team can get that lockout, but also can they break through a lockout?
Most importantly for both these teams, knowing the fact that they do have to fight through that, I don't see any difference here. Maybe Cold has a different weapon on hand, but I do see the Forge Pro Bubbles on hand in the side of PAL and as well for MSU. Pretty much some slight differences here, but the K-Shot's back in for MSU's side. MSU has already started this game off by taking out 2 members of PAL, so MSU is going to be able to get both those zones capped. And right now, MSU already playing on the offense and now looking to see if they can pressure off PAL. Nick went a little too far there and went down on his own. Maybe this will give PAL the chance to catch back up.
Yeah, I mean, PAL should be starting to push up there. I know you only got the 1 down, but you definitely need to start to punish that but they're gonna find themselves now one down. Instead, but oh, the hammer coming out now from Koreki. Koreki gonna be able to stall these zones just a little bit, able to find a second
Oh,
pick,
man.
but they are 2 down, and Michigan State should be able to hold on to these zones for just a little bit longer, but they continue to find themselves at a numbers disadvantage that Cal has yet to be able to punish here, and they are starting to run out of time. They need to be diving onto these zones now.
This has to be go time for Pal. MSU has already broken down to 26 points remaining here. The defense needs to hold for MSU. Koreki now the only one on both of those zones. So is Cole for Pal, and they are able to get those zones capped. So 57 points on the penalty are applied to MSU. Pal needs to make sure they hold control of the bridge and the surrounding areas of the reef to see if they can, so that they can get more of those points down. But MSU is able to flip it back into their own favor. So now MSU's goal is to get out of those penalty points. We did see that 3 members did go down on the side of Pal, so MSU is going to try to keep this pressure up.
Yeah. Oh wait, this is a DC. But they're outside of the DC rules, I believe. So they're gonna actually have to play this one out. But they do have a pretty sizable lead to work with. That is the junior on the side of Michigan State going down. Pal finally gonna get this opportunity here to just punish this one and get back control of these zones. But with Koreki going down, these numbers are even once again, and MSU gonna try to find these zones to get flipped. But no, it's not gonna be any good quite yet. They're gonna have to just really stall this out for 2.5 minutes.
So knowing that you're down 3 because of the DC for MSU, the goal here is to just hold those 2 zones. This is thankfully a 2-zone map, so if you're able to neutralize one, the other team cannot take full advantage of it. But members of MSU are quickly falling, so Pal is playing this one as they should, pressuring out MSU as much as they can, knowing that the fact that this is now a 3v4 or 4v3 situation. Pal's still taking down on those points remaining. MSU just needs to find an opening to see if they can break through on both of those zones. As right now, Pal still holding control of those zones. There is ink going above it because 2 members of Pal just went down and MSU flips it.
Oh my goodness. Michigan State holding on for dear life here. They do tack on that 54-point penalty, which is huge. That buys them so much time to work with. And that is just a huge blow to Pal right now. Pal Odie, as soon as they saw the DC, they knew they had an uphill battle to climb still, despite having that permanent numbers advantage. And they're going to be jumping to their teammate here. A little bit risky, but it looks like it might pay off as they're going to be able to, together, pressure that right zone and keep that in a bit of a neutral state. But Pal doing a good job here, just continuing to maintain some pressure here. Koreki getting a nice pick there. Koreki going to start moving up to hopefully get a second pick, but these zones are not capped right now. They're going to have to cap these before they can continue keeping this pressure up. And that's going to be Nick dropping from the bridge. Nick was able to get one right there. Can they get the second? No. Members of Pal backing up, but all 3 members of Michigan State collectively able to take down the second member of Pal. 1 minute to play. That's going to be a 3rd member going down from Pal.
Man, MSU's playing this 3v4 situation really well right now. They're able to get binds onto Pal. Pal just has not found ways to break through both these zones. MSU is just playing this one as defensively as they can, knowing the fact that they only have 26 points remaining. Pal has an uphill climb to work with here, though. Pal just needs to stay alive. They need to stay alive and make sure they can find members of MSU as soon as they can. They are taking down those penalty points right now. 23 seconds to go. They can't afford members to get flipped. There's 3 members down on Pal's side. That is a delayed wipe. MSU is able to flip this one.
Oh my goodness, and this is coming right in the nick of time, Nick! That might have just been the finishing blow right there from Nick, but members of Pal diving onto the zone. They need the flip. They can't settle for just neutral. And it looks like Michigan State is gonna hold on and win Division B!
MSU, congratulations, you win the Division B League Championship. What a fantastic map for MSU. 1 member down on the disconnect from Sandy did not phase the rest of MSU whatsoever. A huge lead to work with. The focus was the defense that MSU needed to focus on. And again, knowing that this was a 2-zone map, Pal had to capture both of those zones to get those points down. MSU played that 3v4 perfectly. And it was a little close at the end, but MSU was able to stall out Pal as much as they can. And man, MSU played MSU, congratulations. That's all I can say from here.
An excellent finish there by Michigan State to close this one out and secure the Division B championship. But kudos to Pal as well for putting up an excellent fight there. I just think in that last game, the lead that Michigan State had built up prior to that DC ultimately was just a little bit too much to overcome. And we had mentioned this right at the start of the game as well, is that with this 2-zone map, it's definitely a little bit trickier to defend because you can flip it, but at the same time, of the 2-zone maps, it's really easy. It's a lot easier to, you know, kind of hold out a little bit. So, you know, there's a couple things working in either team's favor here, and I just think Michigan State was just marginally able to capitalize a little bit more.
No, oh, for sure. And yeah, they built the early lead. That could have, if they had to play that 3v4 situation as well as they did, and members just two members down for Pal pretty much meant that Pal wasn't able to capitalize as much as they can, because once those two members did go down for Pal's side, MSU was just continuing right along on that push for both of those zones, and it is one of the easier 2-zone maps to get the cap on and be able to flip easily or flip easily from there. But MSU, they just played that one fantastically well. So congratulations, MSU. And in typical CCA tradition, which is always one of my favorite traditions here in CCA, they're gonna play out all 7. It looks like.
Yeah, I've not gotten official word on that, but I believe that is to be the case here. So we're going to go ahead and play out Game 6 and 7 from the sounds of it. And we're going to be taking Game 6 over to Tower Control on Mako Mart. So just, you know, a phenomenal finish there from Michigan State. And we're going to go ahead and do the typical sportsman-like thing here. Play out this set just for the fun of it.
I love the fact that both these teams are playing out all 7 of these maps. Some of these map combinations we may not see as much as they can, and both these teams willing to play it out. Just a lot of fun to witness here for the most for this part. I'm gonna be curious to see if Pal's at least able to end this one on a high note. See if they can get a few of these maps in their favor, and certainly with 2 members going down on MSU's side, and make that 3 even, Pal's able to at least start things off by pushing the tower.
Yeah, so Pal gonna get the first grab of the tower here, gonna work through that first checkpoint, and it looks like it's gonna go pretty uncontested here. The Stingray are gonna try to slow things down, but Plan B able to hang on there, break through that checkpoint, and waiting out the Stingray. Nobody from Pal going down there, so they're gonna maintain a lot of control here. And just look at Cold and Korecki holding on to that ledge there, making it so difficult for Michigan State to work their way back to this tower, and they just have no answers right now.
Yeah, Michigan State right now not even able to find the stop here that they so needed here. Pal's able to still push right along on that tower side. The Stingray is doing everything they can to spread MSU apart, and 2 members continue to fall on MSU's side. Pal is still able to keep this push ongoing. They're able to get past the second checkpoint, and MSU all over the map basically. Pal has a lot of 8 coverage, so to speak. They're at the 3rd checkpoint, but members now going down, and Pal is wiped. So MSU is able to get the stop on that 3rd checkpoint.
Yeah, and that stop came right on time. They were on the verge of letting that 3rd checkpoint fall, and that just would have been disastrous for Michigan State. They buy themselves a little bit of time here, but they now see themselves in the opposite position of that last game, where they really have a big uphill battle to look for the lead here.
Yeah, they just need to start this push as soon as they can. 3 members already down for Pal there, but Ender goes down right at the tower, so it will be a little bit of a slower start for MSU to get this tower going, but this buys Pal the respawns that they needed to get back and at least contest right at the 1st checkpoint. Gonna see if MSU is able to break through it. They're able to do just that, past the 1st checkpoint, and MSU is gonna try to route the other way as much as they can. Pal still doing everything they can to put MSU away from the tower. And right now, though, this tower is going to slowly reset back a bit. And MSU only starting off with 68 points remaining for this push. Going to be curious to see if they are able to get a second push going.
Yeah, I think they should be able to get at least a little bit going on this second push here. They're doing an excellent job of getting a little bit of pressure on this ledge here, but no, who else but Koreki able to find a couple of nice picks there to slow things down. So that's going to be 3 down on the side of Michigan State. Cole trying to clean this one up as well, able to get 2 hits there, but not able to finish the job. But nonetheless, that does continue to give Cal a lot of control of mid, and they're doing a good job here, just keeping Michigan State back. Michigan State continuing to sort of struggle here.
MSU is pretty much spread around all across the board. The Stingray is just giving them a bit of problems here, but the Stingray on Pal's side is doing its job. They are able to spread MSU apart there, not to get like one consistent push going. So MSU just having to play a little bit from behind. Still plenty of time to work with here, especially if members are going down, but Michigan State did lose 3 in the process, so the power is only going to get stuck right there. Hal is able to recuperate on from that attempted push, and right now Koreki finds Chef. Koreki has double digit spots to their name right at the moment here. Let's see if Koreki can find another.
Yeah, Koreki has just been on a tear all set long. They're just eager to get these picks, and it's been literally keeping Hal in some of these games and leading the charge each and every single time. But with that said, that is going to be 2 down once again on the side of Hal. It's a 2v2 situation. But the one thing I think that Pal's been really good at here so far in this game is they've seen themselves get wiped a couple of times. But every time they get wiped, they're getting trades. And because of that, they're able to get out of spawn together and start to fight off the last 2 people that are moving up on that first checkpoint. And Michigan State hasn't been able to break through that.
Michigan State, that's a very good point there. Michigan State just aren't able to break through on some of those trades that Pal's been finding. I mean, Pal's able to find a few extra members here, and that solves what Michigan State a bit. We do see a one quick push going to the last moment here for Michigan State on this session, but they are done. Pal gets on the tower, and they do win the Make-A-Mart tower control map.
Yeah, so unofficially taking their second game here. And you thinking about it, if Pal really did just manage to hold off for a couple more seconds, we'd be at a 3-3 set. But
oh, for sure.
And, you know, that's really, really unfortunate, but nonetheless, they're putting up a good fight here. So we're gonna go ahead and be transitioning now into our unofficial Game 7, Rainmaker on Manta Maria.
Rainmaker on Manta Maria is quite the combination, especially with how the map is laid out. It's gonna take a few finds there. I'm gonna be curious to see which weapons that both these teams are pretty much gonna have. If there's anything secretive that secret in terms of their strategy, if they really wanted to dish those out for this unofficial 7th map, they're wasting no time. They're pretty much set. They wanted to see if they can win this Manta Maria Rainmaker map. And to your point, this could have been a 3-3 set, but again, a lot of the credit does go to MSU for holding onto that map as much as they did, and Pal just played that 6th map very well. Gonna be curious to see if Pal ends this one on a high note on the 7th one.
Yeah, I mean, unofficial Game 7, you know, you could almost look at this like, if that DC game went a different way, how would this set have ended otherwise? But of course, that's all speculation and whatnot, so do it, you know, healthily. But yeah, so jumping right into this one, we do see 1 down and make that 2 down early on for Pal, as Plan B doing a good job here, just trying to spread a little bit of heat out from this bunker area, but might have been a little bit too quick to show themselves, as they are going to get Stingrayed and missiled simultaneously. So Michigan State pushing that Rainmaker up just a little bit. That's going to help them build up a little bit of pressure. But, oh, Chef finding it nice. 2 down, make that 3 yet again for Pal. They're going to actually swing this to the left side. No, okay. Chef's going to hold on to this left side as Sandy is taking this all the way down to the pedestal.
Oh, man.
This might be a quick Game 7. 3 3 points remaining. A huge push for Michigan State. Nick and Ender both still right by this Rainmaker. They're gonna have to get this pop, because if this pops for Pal, they're all going down. And as I say that's gonna be 3 down Korecki with a beautiful triple there.
What enabled that push to happen for MSU, members of PAL were going down in bunches of 2s and 3s, basically. So MSU had all the control that they so needed, and PAL just could not find any members of MSU on that first initial push. That's how we got to 3 points remaining. They found the members of PAL that they needed. Stingray did find members as well on MSU's side, so that was just a good-looking push there. They're almost so close to the slam. But MSU took a few different routes there to see if they can try to slam it home, but PAL got them surrounded, so the defense held in time, and PAL having to climb the mountain yet again with 3 points remaining. That is the number to beat. And right now MSU has the Rainmaker on hand. His members did go down, but Korecki puts an end to that.
I love how Korecki played that though. They had 2 of their teammates down there, and they, continued to move. They made smart movement choices and just moved ever so slowly as to not trigger the Rainmaker into realizing that they were there. They were able to shut that down before anything funny could happen. But once again, they do find themselves 2 down yet again. So this is going to result in another Michigan State push. PAL gonna have to put together one of their signature defensive stops here.
Yeah, MSU continues to find like a couple members, maybe even 3 on the hands of PAL. So PAL's defense has to spawn in quick to at least stop them. PAL's Stingray just finds plan B. Nick goes down to the same Stingray as well. Kudos to Cole for finding the 2 there to at least stop the MSU push. And PAL holds this push yet again.
Yeah, I mean, did you see where Cole was positioned for that Stingray? That's definitely a little bit of an unconventional place to play that, but it totally worked for them as all of Michigan State was kind of huddled together around that Rainmaker. You can safely play that far side of the map and get that pick there. Korecki gonna wrap this one, wrap up that pick to make it 3 down yet again. And unfortunately, they're still at a slight, numbers deficit there. So they're not going to be able to push this, which I know they really would have liked for this position. Omas has pushed up pretty far right now, though. So this could be a push from PAL if they're able to keep up this pressure and find a couple of picks. That's going to be 2 down on the side of Michigan State.
Then 2 members down on Michigan State. Now PAL picks up the Rainmaker. They make that 3 members down on Michigan State's end. So PAL could be able to get this push going, but they gotta find even more members. Korecki goes down, found by the suction bomb, and they did lose the Rainmaker, and that Rainmaker's in quite the position here. But Omazen's able to pop that Rainmaker open, but MSU's gonna be all over this one. At least I thought. No, now they're all over this one. Omazen did get the trade onto a Michigan State member. As more members are going down, Michigan State can't seem to get the defense on this Rainmaker. Plan B holds on to the Rainmaker, keeps it there at the very least to give PAL the chance to pop the Rainmaker and get this push going. As let's see if PAL can get this offense up and rolling right now. Michigan State's having to play their defense that they so needed. As soon as I say that, though, all of PAL is wiped.
Wow. PAL was just on the verge there of just a major push, but not able to find anything. And now Michigan State going to take this Rainmaker all the way back to their pedestal into no man's land, where PAL cannot reach them. And Michigan State unofficially taking game number 7. So at least we do know in that speculation scenario, Michigan State still holding on. And gonna be taking this set unofficially 5-2. The official set finishes at 4-1.
I do want to give credit to PAL for definitely fighting for as much as they can throughout the 5 games that were officially played there. They definitely did their darnest. Korecki, Plan B, Cold, and Omazen, along with the rest of the Purdue Air Launchers, definitely gave it a fantastic effort to get a few of those maps. They did win one of the maps earlier in this set, but couldn't seal the deal on a few others. And yeah, it was just a close call on the Reef Zones. I do want to point that out, but just a bit short, but still a great set for Purdue. As much if there's anything to take note of at the end of that set.
Yeah, both teams played fantastically. So congratulations to Michigan State, though, the official Division B champions. They are going to be taking home some wonderful Switch cases provided by our sponsor at MSI. And I believe we also have a couple of other things laying around as well from MSI that we're going to try to throw in there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
awesome. Congratulations, Michigan State, MSU Splatoon, or Michigan State for winning it all here in Division B. So, hopefully you guys will take full advantage of the swag that will be sent your way.
Yes. So we will definitely be in touch with them moving forward into the summer because it is summer and yeah, that makes things kind of interesting. We're trying to ship things out.
College is not quite in session yet.
Yeah,
we finally finished it, but we're almost there.
Yeah, so we'll figure that one out with them as well. All right, but with all of that said, I think that's gonna go ahead and do it for us here in the booth today, Kyon. Thank you so much for joining me and commentating this wonderful set. Where can the people of our chat find you?
Yeah, I'm Kyon, or Kyon2570. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter, of course. I just do whatever I feel like, but I definitely play a handful of Splatoon from time to time. If you can send a follow on my Twitter and a follow on my Twitch, you'll be up to date with anything I'm doing at that point in time. Who knows? Maybe I'll stream Splatoon again and see Splatoon 2 again and see if I can get the climb up.
It's always a grind.
Oh, absolutely.
As for myself, you can find me on Twitter at drf_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. Thank you all so much for joining us here today for the Division B Grand Finals. Congratulations once again to Michigan State. We still have a couple of matches left in the CCA League, so be sure to tune in for the latest on those matchups. We hope to bring those to you very soon, but yes, that's going to do it today. Thank you all once again. Continue to be kind to one another. And stay tuned for a word from our sponsor, MSI.